Cool. All right.
Hello and welcome.
I think we are live. Let's see. So, make sure that everything's coming up live and all that good stuff. Looks like we've got a few people signing in here. So, welcome to another week of Brews of the Dudes.
Yep. Our fifth
Fifth installment.
We made it past the
over a month. Look at that.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet
We're
deal.
out there achieving things right now.
Well, we are. Yeah. In the midst of all of this pandemic craziness, here we are achieving excellence. Pretty cool, right?
Excellence is a stretch.
It is a stretch.
We're definitely achieving things.
Yeah. So, welcome back, guys. Chat in the huge. I'll start off by asking the question, what are you folks sipping on? As we always got to kick this off with the beer.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important part.
It is. It makes this bearable for both of us.
I forgot one thing, so I might have to run in at some point during this, because there's actually a intermission beer.
An intermission beer?
Yeah, it's not really an intermission, but it's kind of an intermission.
Okay.
So there's actually two types of beer that I had picked up.
Because you're an alcoholic, or you just wasn't sure what you wanted to try tonight?
Yes.
Yes to both?
Yes. Yeah, so the main one that I got, is great. And then I saw one while I was searching through the shelves to find a second beer,
really
and I was like, ooh.
But that looks really good too.
And the reason why I need to go get something is I need to get cups, because it's a sort of, you ever go to the liquor stores and you get like the specialty beers that are in a single bottle?
Yeah, it's like a growler.
It's like small batch. No, they're like small batch things. So they're like it's kind of more specialized.
Yeah.
I scooped up one of those because I think, one, it appeals to me for a couple reasons.
It's just
a
Colt 45, isn't it? Just some malt liquor.
Yes. You ruined the surprise. Okay, that's two people ruining surprises.
Is that
today. No, it's not.
Okay, that's a great guess.
Yeah. No. We're good. Yeah. So just pull up the chat here. All right. Yeah. So should we kick it off with the brewski?
Yeah, I go for a beer.
Let's go for the brewski.
It's been one of those weeks.
Right. So I'm gonna break open my Justin Riggs cooler to deliver.
What do you got there?
You know me, I'm a sucker for a cool looking can.
Deftones?
Okay.
That's pretty sweet.
What's pretty special about this is it's called Belching Beaver. Yes, you heard that right.
Yeah.
Belching Beaver. They worked with the band The Deftones to create a beer. So this one's called Swerve City. So, I mean, if you're a Deftones fan like me,
I'm into this.
I saw this and I saw like the design on it and I was like, oh, that's eye-catching, and it's an India Pale Ale, so that's kind of my jam.
I love how the can fits our t-shirt designs too.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that.
We're very 80s tonight.
Wow, are we ever a couple stereotypes? So yeah, it's a Swerve City. It's a POG IPA, meaning that it's a super juicy
That's what's
IPA.
POG juice.
Yeah, so POG juice is a classic combination of passion fruit, orange, and guava. So it's very like hot weather appropriate.
I love this. It's like sunshine in a can. So sit back, put on your headphones, and drink away.
Yep. Cheers, Tom. Yeah, I just like the design is just so funny.
I like the drunk beaver wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, right?
All right.
Well, yeah, he's belching.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah,
obviously.
he's got bubbles coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's belching because he's drunk.
Probably. Yep. I know, I just love the can so much.
Oh, that even
So
smells good.
I was born in 1983, so this era, like this aesthetic kind of speaks to me.
Yeah,
Every like arcade I grew up in, this is the aesthetic, so this is my youth.
Oh my god, that's really good.
Mm.
That's like dangerously
Oh,
good.
whoa, that's weird. Not weird as in like that crazy Scotch ale you picked up, but
No.
weird as in like it's very juicy.
It's very juicy. It's
very guava.
It's
very
one of those
passion fruit.
beers that if you're not careful, you're gonna drink all of them in like half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I do have two more in the fridge in the house, but I mean, I gotta fit this other bottle in here, but maybe if we really need to polish these off, I'll grab the other two while I go get some glasses.
I could take a vacation day tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be a great excuse to my boss.
Oh man, this is so good. Okay, so yeah, Pog IPA. We kind of explained passion fruit, guava, and orange. So it's got a bit of. It's really like it's balanced. Like it's not too IPA. And the
it's just enough IPA
fruit.
to be like, hey, you're drinking a beer.
Yeah,
But it's still fruity enough to where it's just super smooth and it's not sharp.
right. You know, if I were to, I'm trying to think of a good comparative. There's a few fruitier beers. The Fruity Pebbles. Which one is that?
I've never had a Fruity
Oh my gosh,
Pebbles
what is
beer.
Fruity Pebbles again?
It's a cereal.
My God, I'm drawing a blank on it.
It's probably from drinking too much beer.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna draw a blank on it now. But I think it's a Leinenkugels.
Okay. I could see
I'm
that.
not sure.
They make kind of fruitier
I
stuff.
think it's a Leinenkugels. You know what? Yeah, it's like all the head injuries. I just draw a blank. Anyway, so yeah, it's along the lines of a very like fruity beer. It's super good
This
though.
this
Not
would
too
taste
fruity.
really good on like a Saturday morning with biscuits and gravy.
What on
Like-
a Saturday morning?
Oh no, you're at Power Cruise.
Wow.
You're nursing the hangover
Oh,
from the night
okay.
before, and you just want to kind of
That's cool. I
Hair-
appreciate that optimism.
hair of the dog type thing. You
Is
know.
the hair of the dog? Assuming you're not driving that day.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
drink and drive,
No, they'll-
especially at the track.
They breathalyze you though, so you're pretty
They usually
okay.
breathalyze you.
They usually get everybody.
They usually do. Yeah. Wow, that's good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is one of the few beers that my wife would like as well.
Right.
She likes the fruitier stuff, and this is really good. She'd love this.
She'd be sipping on that scissor. There we go. Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. That is the Fruity Pebbles. This is.
I literally just had a summer shandy last night. I've never heard it referred to as Fruity Pebbles.
Well, yeah. Take a drink of it. Have you ever had Fruity Pebbles?
When
The cereal.
When I was a kid.
Eat that, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm eating summer shandy."
Maybe, I just haven't had it in
Yeah.
ages.
I haven't had summer shandy in a while either. I'm kind of going off of the nickname that everybody gives it, but yeah. So anyway, it's a fruity beer.
Yeah. Recommend highly.
Yeah. Oh man.
I love that your wife is the one that chimed in on which alcohol it was, though.
Uh-huh.
I'm learning a lot more about your household right now.
Well, I mean, we're in our 30s, so we've had she's had 9 years of legal drinking to figure out beers.
Yeah,
and
you're
we
on
love beer.
you're on decade number 2.
Almost 37. I mean, there's some. It's like
You're-
every year. It's like once you cross your 20s, you get into your 30s. Every year is like you're kind of counting it with like a certain like attitude.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're just like, I'm 31. Oh no, I'm a year away from my 20s now, or well, technically. No, it'd be a year away from my 20s now. And then when you're like 32, you're like, oh, like I'm a little bit closer to my mid 30s. And you hit 33 and you're just like, I'm smack in the middle, almost to my mid 30s. And you're 34 and I'm like, I'm in my early to mid 30s. And then you hit 34 or 35 and then you're like, oh my God, I'm in my mid 30s. And then you hit 36 and you're like, I'm closer to my late 30s. Like you hit 37, then you're like, this is actually late 30s. And then you hit 38 and you're like, it's all downhill from here.
Well, at 37...
You sense the anxiety in getting older. It's really not that bad. Every year is better than the last, so don't
No,
listen.
and I feel as you get older, you figure life out more, and you have more control over kind of your situation, what's going on, so you get to have more fun. You're a little bit more established, like, oh, I'm not worried about trying to find a house. You have a house for a few years.
Right.
You're like, okay, that's checked off the list.
Are you taking shots at Ryan right now?
Ryan, if he's
Ryan
watching,
Peterson.
he's not watching.
Local buddy of ours,
He's not-
350Z owner, Audi
I'll-
S4, A4.
S4, and he's a 350Z,
Mm-hmm.
and I think his wife has some Audi SUV
Yeah.
as well.
It's good shit. You'll actually see him in a video coming up this fall.
Yeah, that just like the video that we were supposed to show this winter and everything else. And
It might be for an E30 series. Somebody's gonna eventually, like, when people actually start watching our videos, which might never happen, but if they eventually start watching our videos, they might like make the supercut of those where we keep saying that, and there's still no series.
It's the one thing that we keep foreshadowing over and over and over again.
That's some serious carrot danglage.
Yeah.
That's not... sorry, guys. I can't even say I promise it's going to be coming out, because then the more I do that, the more I sound like an asshole.
Yeah.
So
It'll happen.
it will happen.
Later.
Okay, so Ryan.
Yeah. What about Ryan?
Shots at Ryan.
Yeah.
Older you get, established. He's buying a house right now.
He's trying to buy a house.
To buy a house.
He's dealing with the whole market that's going on right now. Where
Sunset Wheat. She was wrong. Sunset Wheat is the
amateurs.
Is the
bunch of amateurs.
Cereal tasting one, Fruity Pebbles.
That explains why I've never had it, because I've never had Somerset Wheat or Sunset Wheat.
Yeah.
Sunset Wheat,
okay.
whatever.
So established, buying a house.
Yeah. And he hasn't established himself yet.
Yeah.
They're stuck trying to find a house in a market where houses are worth more than what they're worth. So he keeps making an offer on a house, slightly over asking price even, and then somebody will come in and ask even more over asking price and be like, we'll cover all the costs.
Well, this is about the most dad tangent ever. Are we going to start talking about the housing market?
We could.
The housing market is insane right now, because
in
even
Duluth,
though
at least it is.
I'm pretty sure it's everywhere.
I can see
We're in the middle of a pandemic. They dropped interest rates to 0 for a lot of stuff. I don't know if that applies to houses or not.
I think his interest rate was like 3% or something like that.
Wow, they're back that low again.
Yeah.
Because ours is like 2.9 or 3 or something like that.
That's somewhere around
it's
there.
super low. We bought
his
houses
is down
at
to the same thing.
perfect timing. But yeah, the housing market's insane because people are actually offering over asking price. They're battling over asking price.
Yeah, it's
nuts.
It's
we bought
crazy.
in when it was way less than asking price.
Yeah, and that, like, our houses instantly kind of not only retained their value, but increased their value within like a year or two.
Yeah, you buy into equity.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is nice.
So we bought our place, and we owe around $50,000 on our mortgage right now, and it's worth over double that.
Yeah, I can't remember what our current balance is. We've only been at our new house for 4 years. I think we're going on our 4th year. So it is what it is. It'll take time to get more equity in the house, but yeah, with the way the market is, our house is worth way more than what we paid for already.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Anyway, how did we end up on that tangent? That very dad tangent.
Something about establishing yourself, and then that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're talking about the whole like the mid-30s. So every year being better than the last, and really it has more to do with as you're becoming more and more established.
Yep. Yeah, you have a better paying job. You have loved ones. You have friends.
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
more successes under your belt.
Should we talk about history?
Yeah, I mean, you want to kick it off with car history right away?
Yeah, you shared the beer. You shared the beer. I'll share the history.
All right, sounds
good. So you're gonna absolutely love this. For those of you that don't know, Jake is a hardcore fangirl of the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia.
Where did we add it? Did we add it?
I thought you said you added it.
Fails of the week. Marketplace. Apparently we didn't add
we
it.
We never added it.
How did we do that the last time? This is hilarious. So you guys are gonna have to deal with us tweaking this again. My gosh, we look like a bunch of noobs.
Bunch of amateurs, man.
So just gonna keep talking about the history.
Okay, so on July 14th, which was a Thursday. Oh, you cut off audio, didn't you?
Yeah, that was the problem. So, you guys, this is so embarrassing. It's going to go black for a second here while I have to try and pull all this crap up and fix it. So, sorry about this. We missed adding something because we added a new segment for tonight, and we had a whole bunch of pictures to upload. So,
that's right.
Anyways, it's going to go silent for a second. We'll have to add audio first. Okay, you guys should be hearing us by now.
Okay.
What we're going to do is start adding in the images of exactly what we are talking about.
All right. I'll just continue talking then, and
yeah, go ahead and tell them about the Karmann Ghia.
All right. So like I was saying, this so happens to be one of Jake's dream cars to own someday, despite kind of owning one or most of one at one point in time. But the Ghia was first introduced in 1955 on July 14th, So that was 64
nice.
years ago was when they first introduced it.
That's awesome.
At I believe it's pronounced the Casino Hotel in Westphalia, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It apparently did actually rather well. People thought it looked super cool, super sleek, very sporty looking. But what kind of was the big drawback to it was the flat four engine only made like 36 horsepower. So despite looking a little sporty, it just was kind of sluggish, for lack of better words. The first year that they were actually in full production, they only sold 10,000 cars. But in...
Oh, okay. That's why those lowlights are so sought after.
Yep. They didn't sell a whole lot of them just simply because they were slow. But in 58, they actually introduced a convertible model, and that bumped up to 18,000 units for 1 year. And the best year that they actually had was in the 60s, peaking at just over 33,000 cars during a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so that is the history. These things are super, super cool though.
Yeah, I love that, you chose, it just happened, the history happened to work, but that, you use something that's near and dear to me.
Yeah, I know this is on like the bucket list to build someday.
And the funny thing is, so Donnie alluded to ownership, and I actually owned a Karmann Ghia a couple of cars back. And unfortunately, the problem was I was still pretty novice when it came to fabrication, so it was a car that needed a lot. I put floor pans in it, but I didn't separate the body because it was really soft, and I thought that might have been an issue. In retrospect, I should have just braced it all with tubing, took it off of the floor pan, redid the pans, redid all of the body panels and everything like that, and just did it the right way.
Yeah, there was enough there to save, but...
Oh, there's a lot there to save, yeah.
But when you're taking on a big project like that, it can get overwhelming super quick.
Right, and I started having a lot of issues with daily drivers, which, I was just kind of plagued with for the longest time.
Yeah, I think that's when you had the rabbit, right?
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
You guys at this point have probably figured out where we're at. So we live in Duluth, Minnesota, which is one of the coldest parts of the country. And
Yep.
I was driving a 1978 Volkswagen Rabbit, through a winter. And I had the bright idea that I could daily drive this thing. And not only, it wasn't a stock Rabbit either.
No.
It was dumped.
Yeah.
It was dumped on...
Dump's a nice way to put it.
A set of Ronal turbos. So like... OG original Ronal turbos, which those got taken off for winter, but it was like slam tucking tire, and I drove that through winter.
Anything more than like 2 or 3 inches of snow, you were just plowing the road.
Yeah, which it did great. It drove through everything, and we get massive snowfall. But anyway, so I was driving that thing, and it inevitably started getting a few issues because it's an old CIS system, which is basically like a mechanical fuel injection. And it's an amazing system when it's working, and when it has issues...
It's a pain to get working, too.
They're a big pain in the ass. So it started developing some problems, and again, it's one of those retrospect things where it's like, had I understood the system a little bit better, I probably would have realized that it was very simple... I'm pretty sure the issue was actually a plugged fuel filter. But anyway, so having issues with daily drivers led to me having to really put the Ghia on the back burner, and it just kind of snowballed. And the longer something sits on the back burner, the harder it is to start on it again.
Yep.
You resent it. You get sick of seeing it and seeing that you're not making progress, and it's really just it's a toxic relationship with an inanimate object.
Huh. I wonder how I could relate to that.
I don't know. Could it be another Volkswagen?
It could be another air-cooled.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're true. That's 100% true. Mm-hmm. And I know someday we will build a Ghia. Like, that's going to happen.
We'll get there.
We'll definitely get there. So... But that's why I had to share that for car history.
That's
tonight,
super cool.
Because I know that's right up your alley.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And if you guys look at the very last one here, this is a really special car.
Such a beautiful
car. And there's so many things I could dissect about this, but so there's a brand called Air Cooled, and it's AIRKEWL. And I think they're in California, and they built this car, and this is what's called a low light. So The Karmann Ghia had a few different changes over the years that it was being produced, but the earliest versions had, if you look at the nose and you look at the vents on the sides of the nose between the headlights and the center nose section there's those little vents with the slats. This one is a particularly special one because the lights actually even sit lower on the fenders. The vents are slightly different. Basically what this means is it's the oldest version of the Ghia that you can get. And honestly, the best looking, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous look to that car.
The mirror, it only has one mirror on the driver's fender. That's unique to the early models as well.
I think they refer to that as a passing mirror.
Yeah. And then this thing actually has a custom wood roof rack on it too. And I don't know if Air Cooled makes that, but it's a really special car. It was actually, that image was on my computer. I think it was the background of inspiration for what I was trying to build my Ghia into.
I'm sorry to bring up old memories because
it's a good thing.
I selected that image on complete randomness. Just scrolling through Google,
Nice.
And I saw that. I'm like, well, that's just one of the most gorgeous cars I've ever seen in my life. Gotta upload that one.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's great. I mean, it's because it is a beautiful car. That's why you uploaded it. And I mean, I'm still in love with those cars. I want to own another one. In fact, I tried to message the dude who bought the Ghia from me here recently to be like, what are the odds? Because I saw he hasn't done anything with it. I'm like, what's the odds that you still have that thing? Because he had two Ghias. He had mine, which he was going to take parts off of, and then he had his old one, which was like a 60-something. So it wasn't quite a low light, but it was a sort of an earlier model, which was a little bit sexier. But just to message him and be like, hey, you happen to have it? Because, again, I'd throw a tarp over it, and I'd wait, and we'd get the Ford done, and then, eventually get onto a Ghia someday.
Does he still have it?
Never heard back. So, but I texted him. Phone numbers change, so I can always Facebook message if I get that
do you know where he
wild
lives?
hair up my ass.
Like, we can just go knock on the door.
Down in the cities. I don't... Actually, yeah, I do have his address, come to think of it, because I think I had to mail him the title, and I don't think it... I think it came back to me. I think I technically still own a Ghia. Whatever.
All right.
Anyway.
So we should take ownership of that again.
Well, that's why I wanted to get in touch with him. Was like, I still have the title. So, I mean, clearly he's not doing anything with it yet. I just don't want it to rot. Because even if it's a rusty shit box, we can work with that.
Yeah, you can save a lot of things. See, that's the fun thing about being a car guy, and I've done this with my wife before. I'll be looking at stuff I probably shouldn't be looking at because I have enough projects, and she'll be like, "Why do you want that? Look at all the rust and this, and this," and like, no, you don't understand. Like, that's a perfect starting point. Her bus, for example, she's like, "Oh, but it's got rust on by the windshield and in the wheel wells a little bit." And I'm like, "I don't think you understand. Like, the frame is solid and the floor is solid.
Yeah.
Like, the two important things are there and in really good shape."
Well, and she's used to the era of 90s Japanese cars where if they get any rust on them that can see, they're done for.
Yeah, like any Civic, if it's got a spot of rust, you should probably junk it.
You mean like ours? Yeah, exactly. So these early cars, they have a little bit thicker steel and they just tolerate it. Especially these old classics. They've got really thick steel.
Well, and in air cools, I don't know if it's true for the Ghias, but I know the bugs and the buses, you can still buy everything brand new. Like, you could build them from a catalog if you wanted to.
Mid-America, you can build a Ghia from.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's no worries then.
Yeah. This is hilarious that we're having this conversation on camera because I feel like you're talking me into buying another air cool.
I think you need another beer, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, sure. Okay. No, I don't have anything on my radar unless it falls in my lap as far as another car goes. Because I really, the next go-around, I want to do something open wheel. So,
I hear you there.
After we get to the Dad Mods race car, which will be a few
We have 3 projects after the Ford lined up already.
I know. Yeah, we just need to do this full time. Does anybody want to sponsor us and just let us do this full time?
I'll take a pay cut. You pay me $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, and I'll be happy.
I'd do that.
Yeah,
I'd sign on for something like that.
My wife already covers insurance, so I don't need benefits.
Get sugar mamas. Oh,
we kind of do, to be honest. Our wives are awesome.
More successful wives.
Yeah, they went to school for things that matter.
No, here's what actually happened. See, our wives, they're smart. They went to school for things that matter. Exactly like you said. We're a part of a generation of dudes who have skill sets that aren't as valued. Like, we could get into trades. We could go a different direction with it. But, like, how do I word this right way? Like, we would have to make concessions about what we would want to do.
Okay, yeah.
Back in the Carroll Shelby days, you could just be like a really good wrench turner, and you'd open up your local shop, and then you'd turn wrenches, and you can make a affordable living. You can't do that anymore.
No.
I mean, what are mechanics getting paid these days?
$15 an hour, depending on where.
Which is barely livable. I mean, I would argue that 15 isn't livable if you've got.
I think
I
got paid 13 or 14 at Kia back in the day.
I mean, and one could argue too that, like, I mean, there's more trade jobs than ever that are available, that are open, but not when it comes to guys who want to build race cars, turn wrenches, own a shop, stuff like that. Like, that's not really a great.
The trade-off is, though, is we might not make as much per hour, but because we can maintain all of our own stuff, we can buy cheap and build it up. We can fix the house. We can do all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
we
actually, we're going with this,
save money. Our wives make more than we do, but we save the family money by being able to do all the labor stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you like last week you were talking about modeling that room for your son, his big boy room. If you paid somebody to come in and do that, it would be expensive.
Yeah,
but because you were able to
a couple grand into that.
But because you were able to do all of it yourself, you were able to save probably $2,000.
You know, that's interesting to put a monetary value on ability like that. Like, if you were to take your yearly income and you were to say, okay, well, let's just make a round number. Let's say it's $50K a year. And so you're making $50K a year, but you just saved $2,000 by remodeling a room yourself. So could you tack that $2,000 onto your yearly income?
Why not?
Because ultimately you save that money, so it's still money in your pocket.
Well, look at the BMW. In the last month, I put an injector in it, which is probably a 4 or 5 hour job if you think about it. And I put an axle in it, which is another hour and a half, 2 hour job. So there's 6 hours of labor right there. If most shops charge $150, $125 an hour, now I saved probably $800?
Yeah,
in labor.
Really.
I spent $120 in parts, but I saved a ton of money in labor. And what is going on in our conversation?
Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a couple.
I see Charlie's posting a bunch of stuff.
We got a couple of the homies. Justin Kepper's joined us. What is up, man? Thanks for joining. Dad Mods for Life. Been a minute. Yeah, it's definitely been a minute, buddy. Yeah, guys. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, definitely. So it's funny that Charlie's signed on too.
And then Charlie just blew up every.
Right, because we're talking about house building, or rather, we're talking about like remodeling, placing a value on labor and that kind of thing. If you think about what he's pulled off,
crazy.
Homeboy bought a house in St. Paul, gorgeous view of a river. I mean, it's like a legit location, and then built a house attached to the original house that's epic.
He built a house around the house.
Around a house, yeah, just gorgeous, amazing work. The garage is just legit. It's what a car guy wants to pull off. It's attached, but it's what a car guy wants to do.
Charlie, we can't read that on a live stream.
Oh my gosh. Tax-free money, do it yourself.
I'm reading the second from the bottom.
This is hilarious. So these poor people have to deal with us and trying to read this off at the same time. But yeah. So it's kind of a neat way to look at it. You know, like you kind of tack that the value of labor onto your yearly worth.
Yeah,
in this case, this year I've cranked out so much work on my house that I really have added a lot of value onto my yearly worth.
I put a door on.
Yeah.
I put the sink in. That was my big house project.
That was cool. Yeah, I remember.
There's a few grand right there saved.
So curious, with the door, did you do a pre-hung or did you do a slab and cut to fit?
Cut to fit because it's an interior door.
You started with a slab. You notched out like the hinges and everything that.
It was an interior door, so I wasn't too worried about getting a pre-hung door for it.
Okay.
So we found a pattern or a door that was kind of built similar to our current doors. And yeah, I just cut it. I actually didn't have to change the width of the door. It was just the height of the door. I had to cut off, I think, like 4 inches.
You have a circular saw, don't you?
I have a couple saws, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did that
So
all
you didn't
by
have
hand.
to do it by hand?
No,
Well, I mean, you could.
No, I have
and
a
you
circular
probably would
saw.
have more control doing it by hand than if you didn't have a guide with a circular saw.
I used a circular saw, and if I remember correctly, I clamped on a 2x4 for a guide for it.
Yes, that's such a good way to do it.
Especially with my eyes, I can't follow along.
Yeah, right? It's kind of amazing like how much you can get by with super basic tools and still do like a ton of house stuff.
I got crap for that, by the way. As you know,
For using a 2x4 as a guide?
No, for basic tools. So you know, you guys don't know, I added attic storage in my garage. I have a 2-stall garage. It's really nice. It's a cinder block garage, but it's not super big, so I need to capitalize on my space. And the ceiling's super tall, so I actually added flooring up above, so I have that all for storage now and get everything up off the floor, make it easier to work on.
Right.
I had a buddy come over and help me put the tongue and groove up there, and he looked. He's like, "Why are all your power tools tool shop?"
Oh,
like, why not?
I don't know. They work.
Yeah, I'm like, they're just fine. He's like, "Oh no, you gotta buy the good brands." I'm like, I beg to differ.
Right.
I have video evidence of a tool shop Sawzall going up against a Bosch one, tearing apart an S10.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the tool shop one didn't overheat. It got warm, but it was just fine.
That's so true.
I've used the crap out of that thing.
Granted, it was plugged in, so we are talking, what is it, an 18-volt versus the 110.
I'll give you that.
But that super cheap tool shop
freezer in our basement that can't fit through the doorway.
Oh, wow.
I'm using that to cut it all apart, and yeah, it's just new blade goes right through it.
How did they get that down there? Because I don't think your house has changed.
I think what they did is they built the basement, put the freezer in, and then built the house.
Yeah.
Even though the house was built in like 1916.
1916, yeah. Yeah, who knows? Maybe they disassembled it. I mean, I don't know if it actually works that way, but
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I've been using. I love that tool.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is funny because there is something to be said about using quality tools, for sure. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, you can do an awful lot with hand tools. You can do an awful lot with, like, the kind of bargain brand. Like, we knock Harbor Freight a ton, but, you know, Harbor Freight's got some decent stuff. Like, the Bauer tools are actually really good.
The funny thing is a majority of the guys I work with in our shop use Harbor Freight tools. Like the Ion stuff. Oh, yeah. A bunch of guys buy that stuff. They have lifetime warranties on Pittsburgh's got a good warranty on their stuff.
Oh, do they really?
So, I don't know. I think when you're going to buy tools, whether it's a circular saw or a set of screwdrivers, it's what kind of tool am I? If I'm just buying screwdrivers, cheap screwdrivers are just fine.
Right.
How often am I going to use it? Like my circular saw, I use it maybe once a year, twice a year. So like owning a cheap one, I can justify spending a low amount of money for something I'm not going to use a whole bunch.
Right. And I use a lot of I like to use older tools too, because I just think there's something to be said about the quality of like older tools before.
Like old
a lot
Craftsman
of it
stuff's really good.
Yeah, and that's what I have a lot of is older Craftsman things. My router is an older Craftsman one. My circular saw is older Craftsman, and they're just beasts. They handle everything I throw at them. So I mean that's pretty great. So maybe we should switch over because we actually got a bunch of segments to get through.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so,
we've been rambling.
Let's talk about dad moments. You got a dad moment.
We're doing dad moments or fails first?
I say let's move on to dad moments.
We'll do dad moments? Okay. Yeah, my dad moment was on Monday. We had my grandmother over for dinner, which is not my dad moment. She just happened to be over for dinner.
I allowed her to come over.
And then after we ate dinner, we went to it's not really a farm. It's a plot of land that they grow strawberries at. Mm-hmm. And you can pick them, and then they charge you by how much you pick. So we went out there and took the kiddos and stuff like that and picked strawberries for half an hour.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a lot of fun, except for Roman kept eating them instead of putting them in his basket. So Harper was okay. She like you kind of had to direct her. She wasn't too bad. Mm-hmm. Roman though, like he didn't care. He just pick them and just right in the mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, no, you got to put them in the basket so we can go pay for them, and then we'll go home and we'll eat them.
Well, and who could blame him? I mean, you're picking fresh,
super good,
fresh fruits. It's berries.
Yeah, we bought like $30 worth of strawberries. Both those baskets were pretty much filled up, and like the next night, my wife made strawberry bread. So it's like
I've never had that.
It's like banana bread, but strawberries, obviously.
Oh, okay.
It tasted like a strawberry Pop-Tart.
Oh, really? That sounds dangerous for you.
I did.
This kid eats Pop-Tarts at Power Cruise. That's one thing I remember. Chocolate milk and Pop-Tarts. I feel like you revert back to being like 8.
Yeah, there's probably a reason I'm trying to like work out and try to like diet a little bit more.
Oh, which we'll touch on that a little bit later on.
But yeah, it's fantastic. Like you said, it's dangerously good. You have one piece of it and you're like, I could probably just eat the whole pan.
I could just shred through this whole loaf.
Tasty. It's so tasty. But we have a bunch of strawberries now, so I don't know what we're making.
That's awesome,
for the next
man.
like 3 weeks.
Strawberry pancakes.
Strawberry shortcake.
I don't know what else.
Okay. just strawberries. We'll wash them off and just pack strawberries.
There it is. Perfect. Yeah, make your own wine.
Yeah, and the funny thing is as we were paying for everything, one of my coworkers showed up with his kid who was like a year and a half, 2 years old. Mm-hmm. And the next day I'm BSing with him at work, and apparently his son, they had like the cardboard box to put him in, and they got half the box folded up, and they look over and their son's just curb stomping them, just
making wine,
just mashing them.
Oh my god!
Like, yeah, that's kids.
Yeah, it really is.
You put them in a weird situation like an open field where they get to pick their own food, and they're just gonna do their thing.
Well, and if you ask a kid to put something in something, they're probably gonna take it right back out. You know, you're just
obviously.
like, oh yeah, put those berries into this basket. They're gonna be like, oh, this is cool. I can put them in, and then I can take them out, and then I can put them back in.
And if I go like this, I can feel the juices in my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Roman was covered just head to toe in strawberry, and we get up there and we told the lady, like, we're sorry, like we'll pay extra. She's like, don't worry about it. She's like, that's how kids are.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it looked like a really good time. Justin Keppers was talking about the TIG welder that Harbor Freight has, to jump back on that. He said that Vulcan TIG welder's been treating him super well.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll very likely end up with getting a TIG here in the shop before too long. So, kind of pondering that one. There's a AHP or something like that that you can get. It's sold on Amazon, but it's got super high ratings. I think one of the local guys, I think Ryan Merritt is actually running one. He's got a I think it hit 8-second Camaro. He's tigged with that thing.
Like I said, I mean, it all comes down to what the tool is, but
right.
we don't own a speed shop, we're not building professional race cars. So
yeah, exactly.
For the amount of use it's gonna get, that'd probably be just fine for you.
Right.
No problem.
So, okay, my dad moment is a little sappy. So, just going to put out that disclaimer. I'm warning you guys. It's sappy. Okay, so for anybody who's been expecting, who's gone through the wife being pregnant and all that kind of stuff, you've watched the development in utero. So you've seen mama grow, but you've also seen baby grow.
Yeah, you see the pictures and the ultrasounds and all that.
Yep, and you also see the physical aspect of that. You actually see baby moving under the skin, which is such a trip to watch happen. And so my dad moment is, so my daughter's due in the middle of September, and she's reached a size. She's a little bit over average for size-wise, so she's already been a little big. We've already kind of seen her wriggling around in there. But there's a point where, and this, I don't know if this happens for all dads, but it's happened for both my son when he was in the womb and my daughter now. When you talk to them, there's something about a man's voice that kids react to. That getting up close to my wife's stomach and actually talking to my little girl, saying, I'm looking forward to seeing you, all the like little cute things that you'd say. Yeah. And seeing it go from just kind of being like little light rustling to like heavier moving and stuff, and like touching the stomach where they are. It's a beautiful, really sweet moment.
It's an awesome feeling.
It is. And it's kind of like, because dads don't have that full 9-month, we don't have a whole lot of interaction with the pregnancy aspect of it, but to have those kind of moments where you get to speak to them and they react, it's a little bit of a give and take. It's very subtle. It's not like when they're here, but it's very subtle and it's very special. And that was my dad moment
That's
of the week.
That's a great dad moment.
Yeah, that's happened
super cool.
last night. Yeah, that happened last night. It was cool.
Yeah.
And there's something about the deep voice too that they really love. It's like there's like soothing thing to it.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Should we go to the flip side of being a dad?
Yeah, so we're gonna take this to another spot. So we're gonna do fails of the week, and we're gonna kick this off with Donnie's fail of the week.
Before you click that,
okay.
I just want everybody to know the image you're about
Disclaimer.
to see. He was not seriously injured. It looks way worse than it actually was. Okay, and this
funny.
was caused by his sister, not by my wife and I. So, all right, kick off on it.
Okay, fail of the week. Here we go.
Yep. All right. So, they were playing. Like, this is how quickly kids act. For about 10 minutes, they were playing really well together on the floor, sharing toys and stuff like that. And apparently, Roman hit Harper with a toy, and she shouted out to my wife, "Hey, Roman's hitting me! Like, come do this." And my wife was in the middle of washing her hands and couldn't react quick enough.
Yeah.
So Harper's like, "I got this," and takes the toy and just bashes her brother on the head with it.
Oh my god!
And what happened was like obviously he's bleeding. Very, very, very small nick.
Obviously he's bleeding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood in this image.
It was a very small nick.
I mean, my god.
Being a head injury, they obviously bleed more. He was fine.
Right.
She got a stern, and I'm being very nice here, a stern talking to for about 15, 20 minutes. As I'm talking to her, I'm trying to think, like, how do you deal with this? Like, she could have, like, our first thought, because you walk in, our son's bleeding, it's like, oh my god, like, we got...
What did you do? I need to run to the hospital.
How severe is this?
Yeah.
And, like I said, we washed him off, and it was just a little... As soon as we washed him off, there was no more blood. It was a very small nick. But what ended up happening for her is she went straight to bed, and she loves stuffed animals. She's at that age where stuffed animals are her prized possession. And I walked in there with a couple of trash bags, and I just loaded everything up. And the whole time she's crying, like, "Please don't throw my stuffed animals away. I don't want this to happen." All that kind of stuff. And I should have said something, but I was so angry at my daughter, I just ignored her. So for about 7 minutes, she gets to watch Dad ignore her as she thinks I'm gonna throw everything away and just bag up all of her stuffed animals. I ended up hiding them in the house. And she discovered them a day later. And we told her, like, you're not getting those back till you can go a full 24 hours without having any issues. Like, no meltdowns, no screaming, no timeouts, nothing like that. And she got those back last night. And
oh, wow. Yeah, you held up for a few days.
That took place on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it took her 3 days to kind of, like, have a really good day where my wife and I were both on the same page. Like, okay, you know what? She deserves her stuffed animals back.
Yeah.
But my first response to her was, "I'm gonna take everything out of your room but your mattress. Like, I am that upset with you." And I kind of calmed down, like, okay, that's a little extreme.
Right.
But I'm like, I took her stuffed animals. I'm like, if you want me to keep taking stuff, keep acting up.
Yeah.
Like, if you act up the next day, I'll take something else you love out of
She sure learned a lesson.
Yeah.
You know, not to overreact, not to bash your brother in the face with something because he tickled you with a toy or something.
I cannot describe the range of emotions that happened in about the first 5 minutes of that when you walk in. And because it's a head injury, so you're like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, we're going to the ER. We got to go get him looked at. And luckily, like I said, it was nothing major, but... Oh, man, that poor kid. That poor kid.
So, Charlie says that his son currently doesn't have a door, so he must be acting a fool.
Yep, I can relate to that.
I love that idea of, like, taking the door if they're acting up. So you don't get privacy anymore.
I was like 10 or 11, maybe 12, and I went through a phase where I was slamming doors.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, "You keep doing it, we're taking your door." And guess what? I kept doing it. They took my door off, and that is the worst feeling in the world. Just having your door sit in the hallway.
Oh, man.
And you go to your room and want a little privacy, and you can't.
You got no privacy.
Yep.
Yeah, that is quite the lesson.
Parenting is weird in the fact that there's no... I mean, there's definitely a wrong way and probably a right way, but you're just figuring it out as you go along. It's a constant like, okay, hey, she or he did this. What's the appropriate response to that?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Oh God, kids keep you on your
toes.
It's
you're always navigating.
Well, and it gets worse with 2. Because
I'll know soon enough.
at 4 years old, she sees him do something, and him being 2, they can't both be punished the same way for the same thing because his understanding is completely different than her understanding.
Yeah.
So now you're dealing with her not understanding why he's not getting put in timeout as much or whatever, and it's just simply like, well, he's young. He doesn't quite get it yet. He can't do these things. As you're 4, you should know better now. That's why we're a little bit more stern on you, is because at an older age, you should definitely know better.
And see, I'm not at that stage.
You'll find out.
I've got my little man is 2 years old, so I don't know yet. He's just starting to really ramp up the. I hate to call it the terrible 2s because I think that's like.
It's more the 3s.
That's more of a negative way.
It's definitely more the 3-year-old stage.
And I wouldn't call it terrible because they're just becoming more independent.
Oh, just wait.
Like, yeah, there's some terribleness with it, but I really think that it's like they're becoming more independent. So they just like they have more complicated needs.
So Roman's got a very small vocabulary, but the 2 words he says the most in the most perfect way.
Eat shit.
No, it's mine, and no.
Oh no.
So like
perfect wording.
Whatever is mine. Like no yellow shit. That's not yours. That's not yours. Or like, hey, eat your dinner.
Man.
No. Just eat.
Oh,
like, eat, or you go into your room.
Sit and eat.
Yeah, it gets fun.
Yeah, I bet. So now might be a time for a little bit of intermission.
All right.
Because we've got this other beer to crack.
You don't want to do the other fail of the week yet?
We can, but then I begin talking, and so
fair enough.
Then
Nobody
this is a good point
that.
where you can talk a little. Yeah, exactly. Where you can maybe jabber a little bit more about your family dynamics and or whatever, and I can run and grab the couple glasses that I forgot to grab earlier because there was a million things to get ready. And then we'll get to my fail, which is not a huge fail, but it was kind of hilarious moment. So I'll grab glasses and those other 2 beers in case we happen to crack those open.
All right, I'll just sit tight.
All right, I will be right back.
Must be old age then. The reason you're forgetting everything.
Yeah, must be.
You want me to lock the door again? Yeah, 2 kids add a completely different dynamic to everything. And sometimes they feed off of each other. Sometimes they balance each other out. It's just all over the place. A couple weeks ago, there was a very happy moment for about 15 minutes. They were building blocks, and they shared. And it's the most peaceful, awesome thing to watch your 2 children have that same creative mindset for a brief moment. And then all it took was Roman wanted the 1 red block Harper had, and then all hell breaks loose. And it's crazy to watch how it can go from complete peace to complete chaos like that. But they make life fun. I mean, otherwise it would just be us sitting at home watching movies all the time. And now we have all these little people running around and trying to share things with them and teach them all the things. And that was super quick.
Yep. What can I say? I make good timing.
You brought more beer.
All right.
I might have to use a vacation day tomorrow.
Well, it's there in case we want to crack it open.
In case I really don't feel motivated to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
so that's a possibility.
Watch this.
He doesn't. I'm not. I'm smart. But none of my bosses are friends with me on Facebook.
That's for the best.
Yeah.
All right. Glass.
7 West glass. Cool.
Yeah. Surly. If I don't know where any of you guys are in the world, but
probably on the planet.
Somewhere in the world. Maybe under the sea. Surly is an amazing brand. If you guys can try and get your hands on it, check them out. They're out of Minneapolis. They're one of our biggest.
I've been to their brewery down there. It's super cool. They have a great restaurant, and they have a ton of beer on tap. Did we miss something?
Nope. All right. So second beer. This is new. We don't usually have 2 beers. Well, we have 2 beers, but 2 of the same, not a second. So I'm a a little bit of a nerd, and if you guys have ever seen the movie or the comic book series Hellboy, there's a beer made by Gigantic Brewing Company called Hellboy, and it's like a Hellboy series, and it's got different Hellboy designs on them, and there's different types of beer. So this one is a chocolate mole stout.
Oh God, that sounds yummy.
So this is up Donnie's alley because
I
you're
love
a
stouts.
chocolate fan.
I love chocolate stouts. I love oatmeal stouts. That's my go-to.
So we'll pour yours first then.
My only gripe with stouts is that it's like having another meal. I can't have a lot of stouts at once, but like 1 or 2 glasses and I'm good.
And I thought that would be perfect since we're gonna share this one, that we're not gonna,
this is gonna be great.
Get too crazy, and just we'll split one.
This will be the one live episode
teeny
that
bit
lasts
left
like
if you
3
want it.
hours because we're just chugging drinks the whole time.
It's just gonna
slowly
be a slow
progresses.
descent into madness.
Descent. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yep. All right. Set that so it doesn't fall. All right. Cheers.
To
Hellboy
Hellboy?
chocolate mole stout. Yep. I don't know what mole. I don't even think I'm pronouncing that right.
Ooh. That's got a little bit of a kick to it.
Ooh. Wow.
At first, it tastes like
Wow.
your everyday stout, and
wow.
it kicks you in the junk.
Yeah, it's got like a very it's almost like a wine bite at the end of it.
That's different though. I'm down for that.
The alcohol volume is 6%.66.
That's fucking awesome. Freaking
I wonder how
awesome.
they dialed that in. I'm gonna guess that they rounded to that number. I don't know how they could get
Probably.
every single one to 666.
Yeah, this is definitely a 2-parter because, like you said, the first sip, it tastes like just a good basic stout, and then
Wow.
that aftertaste though is a bit of a sting.
Yeah, it burns.
Yeah.
It burns the top of your mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Where are these mosquitoes coming from?
I have no clue.
Jeez.
It did rain.
Yeah, that's true. So if you see us swatting, it's not because we got fleas. It's because we got mosquitoes in the garage. So, wow, there's a ton of them all of a sudden.
I know.
What the
it's
hell?
going on my eye. Well, you did go outside and open the door open. So I'm blaming you.
Oh,
for this
that's true. All right. Oh, Charlie does automation for Surly. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know, you guys, what you're sipping on, but let us know. It looks like we're probably the only ones that have actually. Maybe we're the only ones who are actually sipping on something.
It is a weekday. Technically a school night.
Where are these coming from? They gotta be like.
There's like one over here.
Oh, there's a hole at the bottom of the door back there.
You mean what the
Wow.
Ethernet cord runs through?
You know, we have. This is a really high quality operation. You want to hold this? Share that COVID. I'm gonna close that
You
up.
want me to take a sip out of your glass?
I want you to hawk a loogie in it.
I could sneeze into it. If I sneeze into it, it might take some of the bite off of it.
That's what's going on.
Oh, the door wasn't down all the way?
Yeah, it was open by just an inch, which is, it's dark
Enough.
out, so there's light. Cool, so you guys will get to see us itching and scratching too.
There's your
There's
a glass of COVID.
Couple of class acts. Yeah, man, so, okay, let's talk fail of the week. All right, so it'll pop back up with Donnie's poor abused child.
Yeah.
And,
please don't call social services.
so...
Just kids.
All right.
So
Here is my fail of the week. It's a very simple fail, but it's maybe one that you guys will have had similar experiences. So what you're looking at is a place called WLSSD, and what that is kind of like a waste treatment facility, but they also handle like lawn shavings and all that kind of stuff, right? And they have a dirt pile that you can pay a few dollars and you can throw away, or you can get rid of dirt if you're, building a fence, if you're doing whatever in the yard, which I was building a fence, so I just had soil to get rid of. I got all the way down there and I forgot a shovel. So
of course you did.
I got... And this thing, by this point, most of it had been taken out. But then I was like, you know what? This is a funny picture to snap. I need to share this with everybody. So what you're looking at here is my little trailer that was full of dirt that ended up...
You just tipped it over?
Yes. So I unhooked it, and I tipped it, and then in the pile, I found a log, or I found a 2x4 chunk, and I took the 2x4 chunk as it's tipped up and pushed it down, pushed it off the back of it until I got the whole thing cleared out. Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's a mild failure,
but that's a dad moment. It
was too.
Trying to be, you know, all proactive and getting stuff done, and then always forgetting the one tool you need.
The most important tool. I mean, the only thing that would have been more ridiculous is if I got down there and realized I didn't have the dirt with or something.
Yeah, you forgot to hook up the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I mean, it was a pretty ridiculous moment. And you know, there's a bunch of people who are down there dropping off leaves and brush and all that kind of stuff. And I'm back there, like, pushing as much dirt back as I can so I can tip this trailer up, and then I'm leaning over it with a 2x4 trying to push the rest out the back. So that was my fail of the week.
I could say we both had great weeks.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. So let's do a quick update on events in the area.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about an event that's coming up that we finally got the details ironed out on.
Yeah. So this Sunday, which we know is extremely short notice, from 10 till noon at the Back Alley, who is our co-host on the event.
Yep.
And then Ursa kind of lending us their shop front, or whatever you want to call it. Machines and Caffeine will be taking place finally this year.
Yeah, exactly. We've had it scheduled for a while, but we didn't know it was going to go down. You know, there was a lot of changes along the way with this whole COVID thing.
A lot of ins, a lot of outs. And
you and your Lebowski references. Yeah, so, you know, we just had a lot to iron out because, like, we want to take safety into consideration and we want to do the best that we can with that. So, I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to work with the city's recommendations, and we're just going to encourage people to bring a mask with, because you're going to be around businesses.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea. Wear a mask or have it with, rather. It's up to you if you want to wear it. We'd encourage it just because it's... You know, you can debate the merits of it, but you know what? There's something to it. Yep. So, and the city ordinance requires that you wear them in businesses. So, have them with. Like, that's not that big of a request.
No.
Wear a bandana and slip it down around your neck.
That's what I have. I have a bandana.
Or like one of those hunting things that you pull up. I can't remember what they're called. It's just like a simple. Yeah. It's like a little warm mask or something like that. But yeah, they're fit really nice, and they're easygoing as far as slipping them up.
Yeah, and we're also we're encouraging social distancing for this as well. We get it; it's a car show. You want to walk around, you want to talk to people, you want to check everything out, but it's outdoors, so there's no excuse not to social distance.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
We don't need 20 people huddled around Tony Nelson's car. I mean, we can take turns.
Yeah, but you think about it, like so I can't remember where I heard this, but there was a study that was done about the natural social distancing that happens, just like comfort level. So in a lot of European countries, comfort level is within like 1.5 feet of each other.
Wow.
So homies are like talking in each other's faces.
I'm not comfortable with this.
This is okay for me. But I like a little bit of distance like this. But in a lot of countries, people be shoulder to shoulder probably.
Yeah. Well, and that might just be congestion too. I mean, look at Japan; they don't have any choice.
They're sardining each other in the subways. But they talk about how the Midwest in the United States is actually one of the most socially distanced cultures out there. Like, we just love to have our space. So it's kind of hilarious.
Even look at our cities. Duluth is 2 hours away from Minneapolis. Then you hit nothing till you hit Des Moines, and then nothing again till you hit Kansas City.
That's it. Okay. So we socially distance our cities. Okay. I see where you're going with that. Yeah. Okay. I can play with that.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Midwest.
We just don't like to be around each other anymore than we have to.
Since like the 1800s.
I mean, one could also argue that the social distancing has to do with like body volume.
You don't have a choice but to social distance.
Exactly. It's all that cheese.
Yeah, that's probably true on some levels.
Anyway, this is going to be the first one of the year. This is what we're able to pull off. So work with us to try and make this happen as far as like our couple of little expectations. Other than that, it's going to be business as usual.
It's important to remember that if we want these things to keep happening, we want to keep having fun and do all the stuff, we got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, we just have to abide by the city expectations.
Yep.
And any measures beyond that are just that much more respect for one another. So enough of that.
Yeah.
2-hour show. It's going to start at 10 a.m. on Sunday down at the back alley. There will be coffee, except that it's going to be handed out, so it's not going to be a serve yourself kind of thing.
Which makes sense with everything going on.
So that'll mitigate a little bit of the interaction.
It goes till
passing
noon.
Of fluids.
But
I couldn't think of a better way to.
how much long?
Maybe
how
not
much longer?
fluids isn't the right wording.
When can I go
Germs.
home?
I don't know.
How much more of this do I have to deal with?
I don't know. That was really not the right word.
No, it wasn't the right word.
Stupid bug. Did these come off of you? When I was gone, did you like unzip your pants? Like, where did these things come from?
First off, dude, there's no zipper. Secondly, my pants stayed on.
Okay, keeping it PG, huh? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Machines and Caffeine. Would love to have all of you guys out for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it was such a hit last year. It's progressively bigger with every show. So clearly the people enjoyed it.
Yeah, and like I said, it goes till noon, but typically it goes on like 1, just till people get bored and want to go home.
So let's move on. So I've got if you watched last week, we had a segment that was it was like what, crack pipe or good deal. We didn't really have a good name for it, but it was sort of like we'd come across a car at some point in the week, or a motorcycle or a truck or whatever, and it was either a killer deal or it was like, is this person high for posting it for this price? So I had an idea, and so today, while I was trying to research for that concept, I just pulled up Facebook, went to Marketplace, and I realized that Facebook Marketplace has an algorithm.
Yeah. And
based on what you've searched in the past, the range of weird things that you may have searched through there, whether it's, in my case, old 60s Ford pickup trucks, or
for me, it's air-cooled and BMW stuff.
Diaper pails, or, cribs, or tools, or whatever. You come up with a really strange algorithm. It's going to come up with all the things, stupid bugs, based on what you've searched, right? And sometimes, while you're scrolling, you come across some pretty odd entries. So I thought, what funner way than to have a segment where you go into Marketplace and you scroll for a little bit and you find something that you think is interesting to sort of show and tell. So in my case, and I didn't bring this up to you first, so obviously Donnie doesn't have an entry for this one yet.
No, next week.
He didn't have a crack pipe or good deal either, so he's real good at.
Actually, I do, but it doesn't involve Marketplace whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a legit crack pipe.
I bought Power.
This is really thick.
Yeah, I bought a Powerade on my way over today. And they were advertised 3 for $4. And I'm like, I just need one. So I bought one, and it was $2.50. So that's my crack pipe deal of the day. I should have just bought 3 of them because it would have been way cheaper.
Isn't it ridiculous how that works?
Yeah.
Tells you a lot about like how they actually price things. All right, so we'll jump right into it. So my Marketplace.
God, that's gorgeous.
Entry
I want it so bad.
Is a 1968 Dodge van. It's a camper van too.
He only wants $2,000 for it.
Well, when I show you more pictures of it, you'll probably see why the pricing is what it is.
Is there a tree growing through it?
Here's the thing, and if you guys watch Roadkill, a recent Roadkill episode was, it was an old Dodge. It was some old Dodge pickup, I believe. I think it was a Dodge pickup. My gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, they got an old Dodge, like a 60 Dodge, and it has those same headlights. And the headlights are just insane looking. And in the last picture, the final picture I'll show you, it's really evident, the funky headlights. But anyways, so yeah, this is a old school Dodge Dodge van that I came across, and I thought I have to share this weird thing.
Man, that is sweet. I'm
Isn't
sorry.
it strange? Like
I love it.
The camper top is so weird.
It's so out of place because it looks like that camper top doesn't belong on there because first off, it's not the length of the van to begin with. And
That's so true. Do you think that was just added?
I think it was added.
Because when I've
I think that was 100% added.
Yeah, and when I've looked up other pictures of these things, because when this popped up, I had never seen one before, and so I started searching what the old vans looked like, and I hadn't found any that have the camper top on them. So that's got to be some weird aftermarket thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was added on after because it's like 4 feet shorter than the van itself.
Yeah, and the interior, I mean, it's not a great picture, but this is what they offered. I'm pretty sure that, I think that's the doghouse.
You're probably
and
right.
A doghouse is like the engine sits underneath the doghouse.
And Dodge was doing that for the longest time in their vans. I mean, until they got to like the minivans.
Right. And so the last one is a version of this van. Obviously, it's not the camper style or whatever, but just for funsies, we gotta show the slam.
We gotta build one of those at some point in time.
Check out the headlights.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It looks like you could eat from them.
It looks like a
saucers.
Face. It looks like a face.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it looks like so Paul's not necessarily feeling it. Brody, I love that Brody's chimed in because Brody is such a Dodge fan.
Yeah.
He is a Mopar nut to the core, even though he owns a DeLorean.
Hey, we all have our flaws, right?
Yeah, that's true. So I absolutely love this van, and you know what? We talked. What was it in the second episode? Maybe the first episode.
Dodgy Bond.
About Dodgy Bonds.
We could do a Dodgy Bond out of that.
So we have a affinity for old vans, particularly Dodge vans. Yeah. And what's hilarious, back my dad in high school had one of those insane old vans with a mural airbrushed on the side of it.
With like the horses over the Grand Canyon and stuff.
I think it was a pretty like typical kind of outdoor scene. I don't think it was like straight out of Heavy Metal. I don't know if you're familiar with that magazine or whatever it was.
No, but
it's like one of those fantasy scenes where there's like some dude with a sword or whatever, and there's this giant breasted woman at his
space
feet.
Goddess.
Yeah, space goddess, exactly. It wasn't a scene like that, though I wish it would have been.
Well, yeah, you're young and like
right.
Boobies.
So I just ever since I saw the photo of my dad's van, I was like, okay, these are kind of cool. Like I get the appeal. And anyway, we came across we'll reiterate what we had talked about in that episode. A YouTube channel called like Noriyahu or something like that.
Yeah.
And he does coverage in Japan of all the events, and particularly with drifting. So he gives you like a real authentic insight into Japanese drifting culture, because he's right there, he's in it. He buys these shitty drift cars and he's out there messing with them, with everybody, and so he gives you insight into that.
Apparently there was a scene where they were drifting Dodge vans,
bugs
and what kind of happened was a lot of motorcycle racers were buying up these vans and they were turning them into haulers because they could fit their tools, the bike back there, spare parts, all that good stuff. And then, if I remember correctly, somebody made a bet saying, hey, I bet you can't slide your van around this corner. And the guy tried it, and it was so much fun, and they got such a kick out of it, like, we should all do this. We should all slide our vans.
Yeah, we should. That van's actually getting a lot of love.
Yeah,
everybody's saying they're into it.
It's so cool. So now there's Dodgy Bond, where they slam them, they put fender flares on them, and these JDM wheels, and they straight pipe them and whatnot, and they go and they drift them for a day.
Yeah, just Google search or YouTube Dodgy Bond, DAJIBAN, and you'll get such a kick out of it.
You'll realize how complete your life is after you see that. You'll be like, oh wow, like, I was missing something, and that
then you'll be like, what am I thinking? I need to own one of these, and then you'll realize how incomplete your life is.
Like, okay, I have $2,000. I could buy a van.
You could, but yep. Yeah, so that's
we'll
a
tag
must.
that onto our list of stuff that we need to get done at some point in time.
No kidding.
Gotta build a van.
All right, so Should we lead into the next topic?
What's the next topic?
The next topic is something very near and dear to us.
What's the next topic? I forgot which one it is.
Our weight loss
Oh,
goals.
God. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know if this is the case because I haven't looked at the videos, but I wouldn't be surprised if from the first episode of back when we were going by Mischief Garage, we were in a little bit better shape.
Probably went like this.
Oh, I'm a little bit like that too.
I love we're drinking beer and we're going to talk about this, by the way.
We're drinking a loaf of pumpernickel right now. Yeah, so we recently got to talking about weight loss because we're both like kind of not feeling where we're at.
Yeah,
you know?
we both got the dad bods going on.
We do.
You know?
We definitely have dad bods. So I had always had so I'm like, oh God, I don't know, 5'7" something.
I think that's on a good day.
Yeah. When I'm feeling tall, definitely. When I've stretched in the morning, when I've stretched in the morning, I'm closer to 5'8". When I haven't, I'm probably closer to 5'7".
When the gravity's not quite as strong.
Exactly. When I don't jump a lot. And anybody who's short knows that you can go from looking good to looking real portly quickly with not a lot of weight gain because you're short. So it just only has one way to go. When you're super tall, when you're 6'2", you can weigh 240 pounds, but you spread it out over your entire body. Whereas when you're 5'7" and you add on 10 pounds, you see it. So anyway, I mean, anybody's got rationale for losing weight. I mean, any one of us do. But we, being very active people, like you play soccer a lot. You do a lot of disc golf. I just love doing a lot of exercising and stuff, riding my bike. I've got a really badass mountain bike. When you gain weight, you notice it.
Yeah, and as somebody
you're the first person to know.
As somebody who likes to play soccer and disc golf, I mean, disc golf might not sound too complicated, but that whole sport revolves around muscle memory. So if you're not capitalizing on your muscles, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do.
Right. Well, and if you wind up for a serve or pitch or whatever the hell you call them, I don't know. I don't play disc golf.
You mean a throw? It's just called throwing.
A punt.
Well, you just gotta make
a
sure.
Home dinger.
The main goal is make sure you're not offside.
Hole in one. Okay. So when you line up, you don't want to be tickling your rolls back here while you're going to pitch it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those sports where it's all about form over muscle, but it definitely helps to be limber. Like today, so I started a workout program called P90X3. They're half-minute workouts. I actually did it a few years ago and dropped down to like 190, and then got busy with life and kind of fell out of it. Trying to get back into it. But today was yoga. Mm-hmm. Like I started on Monday. They have you do each workout each day, and today's was yoga. And I always forget like how important that is. Like you just feel great. You feel stretched out. It's like, oh wow, okay, I'm a little bit more limber. My muscles aren't as tight. My back doesn't hurt as much. My knees don't hurt as much. And as you get older, and especially with life getting busy with kids, it's harder to stay focused on that. So that's why I went with P90X3. Is it half hours? I can free up half an hour a day.
Right.
No problem. So I get home from work. I sit down for like 10 minutes just because I've been on my feet all day. And then I go upstairs and do my thing and sweat. Regret it. And then like feel really good right after it.
Well, and that's super cool. Like, and I love that they add in yoga. That yoga's an element of all the exercising because I know that like traditionally it's been seen as like this female kind of pursuit, but it's so good. It shouldn't be.
No.
You feel amazing. Like it's obvious. Like if you wake up in the morning and you stretch, don't you feel a little bit better? Yeah. Well, yoga, that's what yoga is. You're just stretching the heck out of yourself. And
my legs have hurt all week. I've always had kind of tighter muscles in my legs. Mm-hmm. And then after doing yoga today, my legs haven't hurt quite as bad.
Yeah, right. Well, and if you think about it, like I've heard a lot of people say you're only as old as your back. So
God, you must be ancient then.
Well, I mean,
you must be easily.
I'm
50?
Actually super flexible because I've done yoga pretty consistently since I was like 26 7, something like that.
It's actually very relaxing.
Yeah, like
It's super chill.
I love it, and I mean partly I love it because I've always been really good at it. So I have had that incentive there, but it's amazing the difference that it makes with just like I mean even when you wake up in the morning, if you're consistently doing yoga and when you wake up in the morning you're not stiff. Yeah. It's really nice. But anyway, so talking about the weight loss thing, we'll start to share it with you guys. It might be a segment of the show. We're not 100% decided on that yet.
You might just simply see us get a little bit thinner.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it because it's going to be kind of a part of it. But so I'm weighing in at about $180 right now, and so I've kind of set a limit for myself that because I have an image of what I want to look like when I'm in my 50s, and it's only going to get tougher in your 40s. So you might as well get on top of taking care of yourself now. So I have an image of myself of the what'd you call it?
I can't remember.
The silver fox.
Oh, the silver fox.
The silver fox.
The silver fox.
We talked about this the other day.
Is some model, some 60-something-year-old model dude who's just covered in tattoos and like ripped.
Yeah. So just like a in shape, care for yourself, 50, 60-year-old dude. It's like the dude equivalent of the cougar. You know, cougars tend to be actually pretty attractive, older women. So this is kind of the dude version. Not that you're trying to pick up young women necessarily, but you might. I don't. You know, more power to you.
Yeah, whatever works.
Whatever. But yeah. Anyway, so the idea is to just be in good shape as you're aging, as you're moving into the sort of second half of your life.
Well, and with kids too, like you want to be able to be active with them and go do stuff.
And you want to set a good example.
Exactly.
You know. So that's kind of where we're going with this is that we're gonna together. We're gonna kind of keep tabs on each other in a supportive manner and a little bit of shit talking probably.
A lot of shit talking.
So I'm weighing in at $180 right now. My goal is to try and get back into the 160s, which is where I was happier. The 150s is when I was like pretty ripped. It was 150. I think 161 was when I was in the best shape and had the most definition or whatever. Anyway, aiming for kind of in that range, but really 160 to 170 is kind of my goal.
Yeah, me being a slightly taller individual, currently I weighed myself earlier this week. I was at 209 and a half.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No,
that's less than last week.
I was actually expecting me at like 215.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't weigh myself the week before that. So I thought my number was higher, which made me feel really good right off the bat. But I want to be down at like 190 is my goal. A couple years ago, I was at that, and like playing soccer, I felt super good and very athletic. And what are you laughing at?
Steve says, as I'm eating pie and ice cream. It's okay, dude. We're drinking a loaf of bread right now.
Yeah.
You know what, man? Like, it's whatever.
To each their own.
To each their own, and like. You know, if you really feel bad about it, I don't know, like, go bench press one of the boys.
Yeah.
You know, grab one of your sons and just start, like, doing sets.
Or just go to the two-finger diet. Like, yeah, you can enjoy all the pie and ice cream you want, then an hour later, just fucking chuck it back up and go by the night.
Hopefully this is mostly dudes watching this show, because there's two genders that are going to respond very differently to this. Well, actually, if you ask, depends on who you ask, they might say there's more than two genders.
Whatever.
We won't go there. So, anyway, that's kind of our goal. So, what are you aiming for? What's your
190.
Your goal? 190.
190 is my goal.
Okay, so you want to lose 19 pounds?
Yep, that's my goal.
Nice, right on.
That's where I was at a few years back. I had a really successful soccer. Like, by soccer, I'm not trying out for professional teams. It's just the men's league I play.
You're not trying to play for the Loons.
No, but it's still a very competitive league, and there's 2 teams in our league that are actually college kids. So it's like, if I can get down to 190 and just keep up with them, I'd feel happy about that. No.
Okay.
I gotta.
He's gotta work tomorrow.
We're running behind schedule as it is, and yeah, I gotta be up at freaking 5 a.m.
Yep. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to be healthier.
yeah, we're still gonna do this. This is kind of our cheat night.
Yeah.
I mean, we work on cars, but we also prepare for the podcast, have dinner, stuff like that. So this is gonna be kind of treated as our.
I know what you're thinking. It's definitely not a date, though.
Yeah, it's
definitely not a date.
Is it not? Are you sure?
I pay for myself.
It's fair enough.
And there's no candles.
That's true. It's true. Sometimes there's things on fire.
Speaking of date nights, you'll get a kick out of this.
Okay.
This actually happened at work today. Working with
Day night at work, huh?
another buddy and I are working on building a truck, and I had my music on random, and I gave him a heads up, like, yeah, you know, I listen to weird stuff, and he one of his favorite bands is Lamb of God, so we both like the same general kind of music, and I can't remember what ended, but I make the comment, wow, I really hope nothing embarrassing comes up. Next song that came up was George Michael's Careless Whisper.
Oh.
And the look on his face, like, he just kind of gave me that, like, disappointed dad look and then just laughed.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
I don't care who I'm talking to. I could be talking to The Rock. I could be talking to George Clinton. I could be talking to Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
I will own... I love that song.
Both versions are fantastic. But, like, that's a date night song. That's a classic date night song.
So we should end the podcast with that?
With Careless Whisper? I'm down for that.
If only we could stream songs. Maybe we can. We got to play around with that.
Somebody needs to give us money so we
So
get the rights to that
that's
song.
what came on after... What was it again?
I have no clue what played before that. It may have been Meshuggah. I'm not too sure.
That's hilarious.
It was something
That's quite a
heavy, and then
segue.
it jumps to that. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I guess we're gonna do this.
Yeah, it's funny how those playlists work out with like the Spotify and
weird.
all that, where it's like especially when it's like a big shuffle of like your entire library, how it'll jump from one tangent to the next. I mean, you could be listening to Meshuggah, and then it bounces to Fall Out Boy, and then it goes to Celine Dion, and then it goes back to Zac Brown Band, and then it goes to Queen, and then it goes to Tupac. You know, and then Alice in Chains.
Well, when you have 1,200 songs, like, it's bound just to play a randomness of freaking everything.
It's fun when that happens.
Yeah, which makes life fun.
So, I got one last question for you.
Oh, God.
You got a dad joke?
I don't know if I do. I don't think I do today.
I have a horrible joke. It's horrible.
So do I. Okay,
horrible as in eye roll. Like, when I was... Let's see, I was living in... Okay, yeah. So I was like 9 years old. Got my parents to laugh at this. This is the first joke I ever told that I got a reaction out of my folks from. So, why didn't the skeleton cross the road? Because he didn't have the guts to do it.
That's bad. That's so bad.
It is so bad. You going?
Okay. All right. I mean, we swore tonight, so I can say this.
You can say whatever you want.
All right. So what's slimy green and smells like bacon?
Okay. Slimy green and smells like bacon. What?
Kermit's fingers.
Oh my God. Wow. And we have taken it there.
Yep. So you guys have a good night.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. This has been hilarious reading over the chat.
It's past our bedtime, so.
It's past your bedtime.
Yeah, I need to go to bed.
So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week. Well, actually, no, we're gonna see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. I can't believe I forgot to bring this up until now.
Oh God. Yeah, way to
Episode 5 of the Shoebox series comes out tomorrow at 11 a.m.
And then we'll see you next week after that.
Yes. Well, definitely with this, I can't guarantee we'll have another episode out. We're gonna try. We'll see how that goes. We've got kind of a lot to do. But, yeah, so finally, we're back with the Shoebox series. So, thank you very much, and we will see you guys on the flip side?
Yep. Peace.
On the flip side. Bye.